Extra.
Hello there, thanks for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to this extension of Good Morning Uganda, which is Good Morning Uganda Extra. In case you've just joined, I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, and this morning I am humbled to be having two distinguished guests with me, with whom we are going to be discussing something regarding Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. Well, have you ever heard of this kingdom? If you haven't, well, there's so much to learn. Are you a lover of culture, traditional leadership in this country? Well, this is the show this morning because that is the topic we are focusing on. Now, we are going to be looking at the commemoration of 100 years of Omukama Chwa II. 100 years of Omukama Chwa II. And joining me to discuss this, I have Philip Katahwere, who is the Minister for Diaspora and Liaison for Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
And just next to me, I have Dr. James Sangara Kisoro, who is the Executive Director of Kabalega Foundation. Doctor, you're most welcome.
Thank you, sir. The name is Isagara Kisoro.
Isagara Kisoro.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Now, I'll begin with the minister here. When you talk about Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom, for many that are watching us and may not have so much insight into this, briefly tell us about this kingdom.
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. Bunyoro Kingdom is a kingdom also in Uganda. In fact, it's Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. It was a very, very big empire in this region, Eastern Central Africa, in fact, the biggest. And we have had many kings. And this present king, the Mukama, Dr. Solomon Gafai Guru, the first, is the 27th king of the lineage of Babito. Not the Bachwezi, no, Batembuzi came first. Then we had the Bachwezi lineage. So this is now Babito dynasty, and the Mukama Guru is 27th. So we understand it was a big empire, by the way. It was a very, very big empire. It would go up to Karagwe, Tanzania, Eastern Congo. I remember 2016, the Mukama sent me there to check on people in Karagwe. I went personally with a few people, 4 of us. What made me surprised was we failed to communicate in English, because in Uganda here we are ahead of them in education. Our English is good because we are British made. Then for them, they use Swahili. So that's why I learned the word shikamoa and marhaba. The DC speaks Bunyoro better than English. For us, we do not speak Swahili. We say abarigani muzuri. So we end up talking Bunyoro. I even went to the palace of Mkamatu Mwenda, Rumanyika. Then we found the DC, the bishop is called to Mwenda. They have an mpako. Even the food, you know, this kalori comes first. Say the kalori, one chekecha. Yes. Security. When you arrive there, you go to the DC first, and they must clear you. Then you made a meeting with the bishops. So this was a king who had really united Bunyoro, really, and he held it those days. You know, there were no vehicles almost. There was no telephones, but he had controlled this empire using his own wisdom and wit. That's why we chose to celebrate his 100 years after death. We are celebrating it after he passed on. He passed on in Mpumude here. Mpumude is in Pumuire, in Busoga. That's why they call it Pumude. The Bunyoro is in Pumuire. So even Busoga was part of, actually, those are all Bunyoro Kitara Empire. Actually, as far as Eastern Kenya. Then in Congo, that is in Bulega. Bulega is, that's why Kabalega, it's called Kabalega. It came from Akana Kabulega. In fact, the mother, that Hingurua, was a very beautiful woman, by the way, meaning you can't pass by her without glancing at her, glancing twice. So that's why they called it Kabalega, Akana Kabulega. And they speak Bunyoro. We had Mpango in 2016, 2015. We called they came for the Mpango. In fact, the bishop addressed the Omukama in Runyoro, proper Runyoro. So that's how great this king was. If, as far as even that Rwanda you see, all those areas, those were all part of Kitara Empire. In those days, we have celebrated him. And he really defended Bunyoro very well. He fought these colonialists, these British. Of course, they kind of decimated us. Bunyoro had the population of 2.5 million people, 2.5 billion people. But they left us Mtwalo Kumi only at that time. They used the policy of Scotch earth method, you know history. They burnt all our cattle. What? Have nice grasslands. So they used that policy of Scotch earth and they really decimated us completely. They even, in the Bunyoro is where they first used this Nyoro-Anglo war. They used biological warfare. They used syphilis, you know syphilis? I've heard about it, but I've never had it. But from what I've heard from those areas, from doctors, is gonorrhea and syphilis. Syphilis is worse. It causes fertility of men and women. So they would come and rape our women. There was a plan of them spreading into other men. That meant Banyoro would die and would be weak, not fight them, because they were very strong and determined. Kabaliga had a motto, Kanka or die. Kusingurwa in the Nyoro means Kusingurwa Ngwayo, you know, that instead of being defeated, rather die in the war. So that's why we think we should celebrate him. He made us what we are. He kept Bunyoro together. He cared for people, human rights. So we chose that let's have these activities. From this day we went to Kibale. We had a launch of this celebrations, commemorations in Kibale, Buyanja, Kangara. Kangara is where the Mkapa was enthroned from. So it began from there, in Buyanja County, in Kibale district. So we are planning a series of events and activities which my colleague can add on to keep the legacy alive. Kabalega.
Well, Uganda is rich with history and there's so much for you to come in and tour. But also for those that are coming getting into the country, there's so much. I know you're watching us on our various social media platforms, wherever you are. Just listen to the history of Bunyoro Chitara, the biggest kingdom that has ever been in Uganda, given how far it had extended its tenterhooks, Zaire, Rwanda, even this other side. So there is so much. But now, away from knowing more about this kingdom, now let's also center on what is lined up for these celebrations, because now you have all reasons why you should celebrate, commemorate this man, special son of the African soil. Now, what have you lined up, Doctor?
Thank you so much. What is lined up, I'll start from where Dr. Philip Katawira stopped. Chwatu Kabalega, for all that he did, for the developments that he brought to Bunyoro. He introduced a very unprecedented way of management in the kingdom. That's how it moved from the subsistence way of doing things in agriculture, in industry, in security, in so many things that kind of management of the kingdom enabled him to scale and expand the kingdom and sustain it in terms of development, but also defend it. Being able to put up a 50,000 man standing army of Abarusura, which managed to sustain a war with the British, which had a much more advanced warfare and technology for 9 years that so many other African monarchies would not be able to put up. So we start from there to say, okay, there is every reason to celebrate Omukama Chwatu Kabalega. We have a series of events lined up as we commemorate this 100-year mark. It started with the launch of the commemoration, as Dr. Philip Katawira said, in Kikangara, where Omukama Chwatu was enthroned as king. We have an upcoming event, Kabalega Independence Run. This is the first of its kind that we are holding, that we want to make sure that everyone who feels a reason to celebrate who Kabalega was comes and takes part in this run. It will be on the 7th of October 2023 in Hoima, at Hoima Boma Grounds. The preparations are already ongoing. The teams are managing the mobilization of the runners, but also the people that we need to work with. Right after, we do have Kabalega Memorial Lecture, which will be held on 15th of November at Kampala Serena Hotel. We're also working with different partners to organize that. And maybe from my perspective, speaking about these events coming from Kabalega Foundation. Kabalega Foundation's origin comes from that very purpose that we put up this organization to preserve and promote the legacy of Kabalega through service that can impact society, socially, economically, and culturally. And we want to make sure that through this commemoration, we use it as a point of rallying our people towards looking at the social good, looking at the economic good, looking at the cultural good that we can promote for the development of our country, for the development of our motherland. We've had a lot of discussions with different stakeholders about the focus of this commemoration. Some people have thought this is a Bunyoro celebration, but we've told them no. And actually, many people have been of the same mind that Kabalega is not a Bunyoro agenda. It's a Ugandan agenda. It's an African agenda. Kabalega having been a nationalist that was uniting different areas of this kingdom into one system of administration. That is the easy way that development can be achieved. He went as far as beyond Uganda, the Pan-Africanist that he was, defending Africa against the colonial advances. And that was all in the interest of making sure that as Africans we have our identity, we have a right to self-determination, and we have the ability to determine our affairs without the influence of the whites. It was unfortunate that that war did not yield all the results that he did maybe aspire to achieve, but the stand that he made gave the chance for other African leaders to be able to see the reason to stand up for the rights of Africans. And it inspired many to also think about defending the independence of Africa, and all that and more reasons to celebrate him. We do have special projects that we've also lined up to be able to ensure that Kabalega's legacy lives on. We do have a plan to construct Kabalega Square. In Uganda, you'll move here and there, you'll find a few things talked about Kabalega. In Dokolo, you'll find a place where he was captured along with Kabaka Mwanga. We've interested our Uganda Kingdom colleagues to see how we can work together to make sure that these two great men, these two great sons of Africa are celebrated. We do have, as my colleague Waktinsa Philip has mentioned, Mpumwiri in Jinja. That is Busoga Kingdom now. It is a place where Kabalega rested. It's a very sacred place, for not only for us, but also for Busoga. And we appreciate that they've managed to keep this place with its dignity. We would want to work with them to be able to develop it into a site that is of touristic value to this kingdom, tracing our history back and forth. You can go all over. We want to be able to develop these sites into a tourism trail that should benefit this country, that when someone hears about Kabalega, they can come and go around and trace all these points of reference. Mparo royal tombs where he was buried being very key. That through that trail, people can get to know about Kabalega, but also learn more about Africa, learn more about what we were, and be able to understand our potential as a people and as a nation.
Well, you wanted to supplement?
Yes, something, yeah.
Yes,
on
please.
that note, as the doctor said, I talked to the Kiawazinga recently, by the way, personally, about the trail, and he was really very, very interested in it. In fact, he promised me, Your Highness, Kulamusaino, Kivomba, he says it's a very, very good idea, and he's going to talk to his Katukiro. You know, Katukiro is a Katikiro in Uganda, it's Katikiro. Bunyoro is Omhikirwa. Then for me, minister is Omgatwa. But of course, we also use Katikiro because Uganda, you know, the history. They also came to our place and they ruled us for some time. So the Uganda words, Banyoro and Baganda, we interchange the words. So the Kyabazinga himself was very, very happy about it. Then he told me, soon you talk to Katikiro and we see how we move. In fact, when we were installing the Kyabazinga, you know, the Omukama Bunyoro is the one who installs the Kyabazinga Ubusoga. Yes, this is a true story. He's the one who installed him 9 years ago, and I was there. And what we did, in the morning, very early in the morning, we first went to Pumude Hill. All of us, we trekked there. That's the culture in Ubusoga. And if you don't know, Ubusoga are buried facing Bunyoro. You can ask them Ubusoga. They are buried facing Bunyoro. When I get there, they call me Dada. Normally, they come send me there, you know. When I'm Ubusoga, but I say no. Then, yeah, so we went there first. Then from there, we went for other ceremonies at Bugembe. It is the Mukama who put the crown on him.
Okay.
I also talked to Onyachi. Danyachi is the chief of the Lango chiefdom.
Okay.
Onyachi Kopango. So they are very willing to develop that trail, all that trail from Pumude, then up to Kangai, where of course finally, if you know history very well, you know Kabaka Mwanga was, first of all, they were living parallel lives, Kabalega. Then the Wazungus came and took over Uganda as a protectorate. Then he was also angered. Then he joined his brother, you know, they're brothers. And then he joined his brother to fight the British. And they fought for those remaining 2 years. They were captured in Kangai together. So this is why we think it's going to work very well. And support is there. We have the support of our partner kingdoms. In fact, we are lucky. All kingdoms now, we are at very good terms with our kingdoms. Uganda now, our brothers, I always tell them, Komoweka, the song in Uganda, Komoweka. I think it's Bugembe or somebody.
Yeah, Wilson, Pastor Wilson Bugembe.
Bugembe, that song, I like it. Actually, now we are very good terms with them. And this is what should be. You know, even brothers fight. You know, me, I'm from Bunyoro there. They come from Bulisa origin, you know. Bagungus, they always do it together on the same bowl, on this sania over plate. But after you quarrel with somebody, still you did together. And this is what has happened. That's what we call Ubuntu. A reconciliation, to know what happened. These guys confused us, the Wazungus also confused us. So now we had. And by the way, when we were praying for this Emorimori, Papa Osuban, in Kololo, I was there. And I was given a chance to address the monarchs. And there was also head of state of Uganda. Excellency Museveni was there. Excellency Museveni was there in attendance as the chief monarch. So when I addressed the people, when I was ending my speech, I did the other testing of Bunyoro style. I didn't do the other Makerere one. Makerere oye, Makerere no. I did the Kabariga oye. That's how we test in Bunyoro. Kabariga oye, Kabariga lega, Kabariga lega, Kabariga lega. Then meaning, that's the spirit we test. When I said that one, the head of state, when he came to address us, he says, yes, I've heard what you have said and what you have tested, but you invite me, tell you more about Kabalega. Our head of state knows a lot of things. You know how he talks to people here
about
history. Kabalega. In fact, he's an expert in that field. So he promised that when we make an event about Kabalega, we should invite him to come and tell us more, because that was not enough time to.
Yes, to do that.
Just as I told you in test, they say Emoria Koliai. Emoria Koliai is how they test. When they say the grass of Teso should do, the potatoes should grow like that grass which goes down. You know, Emoria is like Paspalam. It's grass which creeps underground. So for them, they test Emoria Koliai. Emoria Koliai. Then you say Koliai, chorus, meaning that potatoes also grow. Like so, you're also the same thing. We also want to keep that spirit and we grow again to our glory. So I think, Doctor, maybe we should.
Yes, now, Doctor, still looking at
more about Kabalega.
More still looking at the activities lined up. You talked about a memorial lecture. You talked about also finally the Serena Lemon. Now, are these by invitation? Do I just wake up and say, yes, the marathon is there, I'm going to run, there's a memorial lecture, there's these activities. So who are you expecting and how does one get to participate?
Thank you so much. The events that I've mentioned, just as I said, are series, and each of them has its arrangement in terms of how one can
Quick, let's go through them.
The first event that is coming up, Kabalega Independence Run, is one that is open to the public. Everyone who can run, everyone who can walk, everyone who can move, actually. We are inviting you to come and celebrate with us, Kabalega. We do have running kits, of course, just to be able to identify the people that are celebrating, to be able to manage the crowd and all that, that you can get these kits. There's a link for ordering your kit at www.100.kabalega.org/run. That is a special link that is also coming from the dedicated web resource that is about commemorating 100 years of Kabalega. That if you want to know more about this commemoration, visiting that link of www.100.kabalega.org has all this information together about why we are celebrating, the events that are coming up, how you can take part. We are inviting you to these events in a way that even if you're maybe in the diaspora and you're unable to join physically, to be able to support. All these events are, of course, coming with a lot of preparation. So we're calling on as many partners, and that's where we would want to thank some of our partners that are really doing a very good job. UBC being one of those key ones that we're working with to create awareness about this commemoration. We do have, maybe just to get back to the point of how people join, Kabalega Memorial Lecture, due to the limitation of space where we're hosting the event, Kampala Serena Hotel, we shall have an invite arrangement, and these invitations are already going out to the people that we believe need to be able to listen into this memorial lecture. We are calling on the political class, we're calling on the business class, we're calling on the cultural leadership class of this country, and opinion leaders to be able to sit in one room, discuss about the legacy of Kabalega, the merits that we can pick from there, so that the good lessons that we can pick from his life, from his legacy, we can use them to be able to push to drive our society in the right direction. That is the memorial lecture. The royal dinner that will be held sometime in March, that is one definitely that will also be by invite, but we would want to work with as many people in a way of making sure that all this commemoration, all the projects that we are looking at doing are a success.
Thank you.
Yes, maybe right now I have to go for a short break. Okay. When I return, our viewers will be discussing more regarding celebrating or commemorating 100 years of Kabalega, one of the greatest leaders that has ever lived and had the biggest kingdom to say in Uganda that extended all the way to Rwanda, all the way to Congo. Let's return shortly and we'll still be discussing more on that topic.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
This week on UBC.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala, we have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but Not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break, and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda Extra, an extension of Good Morning Uganda. But allow me to remind you that we are here every weekday from 6:30 to brighten up, to spice up your mornings with so much information that you need to know, yet with some moments of laughter, jokes here and there. And for the sports lovers, Ruben is always here to give you all the sports updates. And don't forget that even when you're not going to get a glance of the papers or get a copy of them, well, we have press review, not forgetting newsreel. So why not make it a date with us tomorrow morning at exactly 6:30 as we start your day. The Fantastic Four, and of course the great teams that are behind the scenes doing all it takes for you to have us on set. Now, we are still looking at commemorating 100 years of Chwa the second Kabarega, and with me I have very passionate people about Bunyoro Chitara Kingdom. Now, this was the biggest kingdom within East and Central Africa, and they choose to celebrate one of the greatest kings that has ever lived in this kingdom, who did a lot for its expansion, its security, and of course, if you read our history very well, you cannot study Ugandan history and leave the name Kabarega. In schoolmen who have gone there when he was exiled, Seychelles and all that, this is the great man that they choose to celebrate. Now, by the time we went for this break, we were looking at a series of activities that have been lined up, but there are also the planned activities, and I feel it's very important. How does the public get to participate in issues like Kabarega Square construction, renovation of that is Mparo Royal Tombs, and all these? Doctor, please.
Thank you so much, and thank you that when you mention about the history of this country, Kabarega is at the very core of it. We are looking at this country, and we are looking at the people who built it, the foundation upon which it's built, and we cannot say that we can trace that foundation and fail to find Kabarega. So we are calling on every Ugandan to be able to interest themselves in this commemoration. As I said earlier, it's not just a Bunyoro affair. It's about the thought of our independence as a country, where it all started from. October, we shall be celebrating, October 9th, we always celebrate our independence of Uganda as a country. But before we got independence, which I prefer to call pseudo-independence, because we still have a lot to do, there are people who fought for the independence of this country, and they sacrificed to be able to define who we are. So it is a rallying call to all Ugandans to be able to interest themselves in this commemoration, to be able to come into support. The square is a very big project. It's a project that is aimed at adding a touristic point in our country's tourism value, that we know that it contributes a lot to the GDP of this country. We want to make sure that we mobilize the resources that we need from the corporates, from the civil society, from individuals that think they can contribute to this. There are many ways of contributing. We've put up some lines of contributing individually, dialing the *210# should guide you into corporates. We've approached quite a number, and we're glad many of them are coming on board. We would want to make sure that we work with them to be able to contribute, and that everyone who contributes, their mark will be there for the legacy that is to celebrate. The bank accounts are listed on our website, which is for the purpose of this commemoration, 100.kawalega.org. All the ways that someone can be able to contribute to this commemoration are listed out. As volunteers, individual input, that even those who may not have resources, the events that are coming up are calling for a lot of human resource of manpower, and we are glad many people have expressed interest in being able to give their technical skills into to give their time and to give their resources. All those things are listed there: how to donate, how to volunteer, how to sponsor some of these events that we have planned.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I go back to the minister, that is Diaspora and Liaisons. When you talk about this kingdom, to be more specific, Chwa II, many know him as Kabalega. If you read about great leaders in Africa that resisted colonial rule, Kabalega becomes one of the top 5.
Yes.
Now, what are you doing as the generation today to keep the kingdom together, strong and moving? We are no longer in the days of capturing territories. We are no longer in the days of bring spears and fighting and all that. But then so much coming in from the West, day by day, is eroding our culture, our values. Today it is more stylish for children not to know their mother tongue, as long as they're very fluent in English. And Amonyoro, who married Amonyoro, will feel proud to say that my children cannot speak Runyoro, but they speak English like the Queen used to speak it. So what measures are you putting in place to hold this great kingdom, to hold what you cherish?
Thank you very much, moderator. What we are doing now is, first of all, our language. We have a parliament, by the way. Kurato is called, our parliament is called Kurato. So recently we passed bylaws that we want our children to start from nursery to at least P4. They should learn in Runyoro. Or they should be taught Runyoro, because language is very, very important. And to know about their culture too. In fact, Nyerere said, late Nyerere, when before he died, says, if you have no culture, like as if you are dead. And I quote him. So really, and on the part of strength, now we don't have spears, we don't have guns, and we can enforce some of these things. I'm Minister of Diaspora. What we have done is to go back, okay, to me, I've done diplomacy now. Kingdoms now, at first they were not talking about kingdoms, but we have managed to unite them, and now kingdoms to come and because this is now a national cause, not only for Bunyoro only, and the history has it. As I was telling people that why Basoga buried first in Bunyoro is because we had 4 princes, you know. These Babito people, they came from the north. There was a woman called Nyatoro. She gave birth to four children. 2 of them were twins. That is the Rukidi Mpuga and Kato. Now, for the culture in the north those days, it was, if you give birth to twins, it's a curse. By the way, up to today, just a few years back, I had, this is the authority from Karamoja, the chief told me, in Karamoja, twins have been killed all along. Those days, it was Kisrani. But now, you know, it's now changing. So for this, when they got these 4 trees in Nyatoro, it's really called Beetle tree. It had thorns in the north, it's still there. So they called these children of the beetle tree. They were, because they were thrown out from the house as a culture. You stay out, don't stay in the house, in the hut, when you get twins. It was Kisrani. So that's how they came. Now, those 4 princes, when they came to this side down, one remained there. Rukidi Mpuga was one of them. He remained there. Then the Chimera for us, it's written in our books, came to Uganda. Then he found people in Uganda living in clusters, clan clusters. So he told the people, Sangria abantu bali mu Buganda. You know Buganda? As they are in Uganda here. So one of them went to Busoga, Kiza, through this, where there's now Kaguru Rock there. They went to supply the water. So that's how it came, that Busoga, they came from Bunyoro. That's why we have that letter. So I'm trying to give you how we can also use, we call upon them. And then being caught in Lang also by Kabarega and Mwanga, so we are calling upon also kingdoms, but Kwatireko, this cause we are doing. Also diaspora. I'm also working on the diaspora. I've just been to America. We had a conference of Banyoro, UNA Convention, 2023. No, 2022. This 2023. It was in July this year. We didn't go. I talked to them, the same thing, support the kingdom. Also to teach their children. Indian Park is a very good, sweet culture where elders, young children respect their elders. So our kids, we are trying to emphasize to them also to do the same thing. The diaspora is very important. You know, they have the money, they have the means. And we are heading to London next year, next July. People in London, Daisy, greetings to you. And the rest, we are coming to also to meet you. We engage them also to support the kingdom, like other people do. So we're working on that. Now we don't have the power to collect taxes. Also, we ask the government to and also to give us our things. If you are fair, as Bunyoro, they gave us some of them. And we want them also to give them to us. We are partners in development. You know, we don't do these things for our own selfish ends. We are in health. I think you have forgotten about the health camps. We are going to give books to schools, not only in Bunyoro, by the way, all over. Everybody knows Kabalega in Uganda, all over. Yeah, and they will do, we shall give them all of them. So it's not a local thing for Bunyoro only. It's for, in fact, Bunyoro Bunyoro is for everybody. Everybody in Bunyoro is the Bunyoro. We don't segregate people. They are Bechiga, they are Banyankoles, Banyarwandas in Bunyoro, very many of them. Once you are the Bunyoro, we call you a Bunyoro. It's not that you are a Bunyoro tribe, no, you are Bunyoro. The other day, I remember even head of state, when he comes there, say Omunyoro Museveni, Omunyoro Salim Saleh. And they have a pako. Muzei is now, we call him a kick there, and he agreed to it. So these are why we are relying on them. And we used to have taxes collection by our chiefs those days, but now we don't have that capacity to collect taxes. So, agari wamu, galumenyama. So that's what we are trying to bring her on board.
Well, very interesting history there, and of course a call to join and give a hand to have this noble celebration, the great Kabalega, whom we refer to as Chua the Second, one of the greatest traditional leaders that history has ever given us in this country. Now, Doctor, as we wind up, what is your parting shot to Ugandans?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. The parting shot to Ugandans, my fellow countrymen, is that we have a country to build, and this country is for all of us. We need to look at where we've come from. We need to reflect on the good that we've seen in the past and be able to understand how to go forward. The challenges, the societal problems that we face today are not the first of the kind that we might have as a country. We might have a lesson or two to learn from history in terms of how to develop our country, in terms of how to harness unity, in terms of how to promote our country in so many ways. We need to have rallying points, and when we talk about these rallying points, we can look at this commemoration, 100 years of Kabalega, as one of the things that can unite many of us. As my colleague, Sir Philip Katawira said, this was a nationalist and away from Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom, tracing his marks in Busoga, tracing his collaboration with Uganda in the fight against colonialism, tracing his legacy in Toro, in trying to create a unified country, tracing his mark in so many a place that you can talk about. Let's look at this event as an event which we can all take part in. Let's contribute to it. Let's take part in the events that are planned, especially those that are open to all of us to come and run. The run is unlimited. As many as will be able to come, we shall be able to accommodate them, and all the preparations are being made. We would like to, not forgetting to thank our partners, UBC TV, we thank you so much, and all the affiliated outlets. Would like to thank all the other media partners, the Vision Group as one of those, Airtel Uganda, NBS Sport, and the NBS fraternity at large, and so many others.
So there are a number of people that have been with you here and supporting you. Well, Minister, as we get out of studios.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank His Majesty the Mukama of Nyokitara Kingdom for the wise leader. Very peaceful, very body, we are at peace. And the particular of Bunyoro also, and we have Taga Kirongi, for the, of course, he's the one who works for the Mukama. He was guiding us very well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I worked there. And they have customer care. Everybody I met from the gate, everybody I met was greeting me with a smile. I was trained by the Americans how to behave at work, that you have to give welcome remarks, then you have to smile. Even if you have a problem at home, you don't show them to people who come here. And then I'm waiting for a parting comment maybe, which I know I would get. That's how customer care here. I really am happy about it. I'm not trying to praise you because I'm here. Every staff I met today, from the gate people, from these people who are even coming to work without knowing me. Hello, how are you? So that's very good. Keep it up. And smiling also to people. I'm very comfortable here, by the way. And then I want also to thank Doctor also for the job being done. Because me, I'm a minister in the kingdom. This is a project. But we are doing the same. We are for the same cause. And thank you also for moderating us very well. I'm sure people have enjoyed the show. And we have a lot to share, but maybe time is not there, all that our side. So we could share again next time and give us a chance. And the Banyoro there, Banyoro Nyuena, Mbaramukize. The Banyoros there complain when I come to Uganda TVs, I talk to Uganda in BBC, where I told them we don't own a TV yet. It's on the way. And I'm given what to speak. Banyoro Nyuena, nanyi tuwaidukire tuweberwe, mwije tuwagire, okama waitu wa Nyokitara. Nicho kintu kya amani kino Bunyoroku. It's our identity. It's our rallying point. The Mukama of Nyokitara Kingdom. Nyona mwije na empango is our biggest day on the calendar. It's the day when the king, who is the ruling at that time, was enthroned. So we celebrate it. Every Bunyoro comes out. Kwetumbra means they come out with the best wear. They come out and support. They come and get businesses. So Banyoro Nyuena, we have scholarships for the children. Now we are starting with the university. We have scholarships for university students, 20 for the beginning, but we are going to expand it, so we need support from everybody. That's my call to everybody, both here and outside.
Well, yes.
Yes, maybe
a quick one, please.
Yes, a very quick one is someone might wonder some of the things that we are looking to achieve out of this, away from just running. The value or the proceeds of this run are looking to establish Kabalega Education Fund, and that fund is especially to boost and contribute to the development of education. As a foundation, we have an education and life skills development program. We would like to be able to make a contribution to bettering the education in this country. That's maybe one other reason why someone should think about why to come and take a part in the run.
Well, I want to thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. There's so much I've learned, and I can't wait to read a book because in Uganda you have one challenge, that many people have so much history, but at times we don't get where to find that history. So I can't wait for the Minister of Diaspora and Liaisons in the Nyokitara Kingdom to have that book. And of course there's one I've seen, Omukama Chwa the Second Kabalega, A Life and a Legacy. Oh, and it's written by the guest I have here. So well, so much interesting, but I have to let you go. Sweet things usually end when they have reached that particular point when you still have to learn more. But the most important thing is, please let's join Bunyoro-Kitara Kingdom as we celebrate this national hero, a Pan-Africanist, 100 years since his departure, for the good work he did for Uganda and for the Bunyoro-Kitara Kingdom. See you tomorrow, God willing. Have a lovely day. May the good Lord bless our country. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.